Hi, my name is Doug Lantry. I'm a U.S. Air Force Reserve veteran, and now I serve as a curator at the National Museum of the U.S. Air Force, and I'm also the institution's historian. Today we're going to take a quick look at the museum's Centennial exhibit, celebrating this institution's first 100 years as a museum. This museum is actually older than the Air Force. Although we tell the story of air power's development from the early 1900s until today, one of the points we emphasize is 1947, the birth of the United States Air Force. In fact, Harry Truman signed the Air Force into existence on this airplane called Sacred Cow. So the Air Force was born on an airplane. The pen that you see here is one that Truman used to sign the act that made the Air Force a separate service as part of the Department of Defense and transformed what used to be the United States Army Air Forces into today's United States Air Force. We used to be like this, a study collection. Engineers and technologists and airplane builders and designers used to come and study what became the museum collection. Their purpose at McCook Field, which was the predecessor to today's Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, the purpose of that collection was to help build American air power and to build it through increasingly better technology. So it was a study collection. Well, all those things, engines, airplanes, instruments, other equipment, all of those things became the nucleus of this museum's collection. This museum is full of treasures. Some of those treasures the public hardly ever gets to see. Some examples are things from our archival collection. Because this is a temporary exhibit, we have taken a few of our gems to show you some of the breadth of the kinds of things we collect. We have a technical document that helped us to restore the B-17 Memphis Belle. We have astronauts' wake-up music from space shuttle missions. We have Eddie Rickenbacker's handwritten World War I diary. That is the real thing, that's not a copy. One of the things that's affected this museum the most is war. During the Second World War, the museum didn't cease to exist organizationally on paper, but it did close down and remain dormant. After the war, the public really had a hunger to see all the airplanes and equipment that were used in the war. Many of the most famous airplanes in the world are in this museum. This airplane right here was John F. Kennedy's Air Force One, widely known as the airplane that brought his body back from Dallas after he was assassinated. It's also the airplane that took Nixon to China in 1972 and made countless other important trips. The SR-71 is one of the most popular and sleek artifacts that we have in the museum. This is the World War II bomber, the B-17 Memphis Belle. It's one of the world's most famous airplanes and also one of the Air Force's most precious artifacts. It represents the sacrifice of more than 30,000 airmen's lives in the skies over Europe during World War II. This spacecraft right here was the spacecraft that took the only all Air Force moon landing crew to the moon and back. This is the real Apollo 15 spacecraft. You might wonder, how did this enormous museum end up in Dayton, Ohio? This all goes right back to the Wright brothers, their invention and innovation in powered flight here in Dayton. The military thought that developing aviation here was the ideal place because this is where all the thinking and experimenting was taking place. The 1970s began a new era on what we call the present campus, the place where we are now. These first buildings became the new home of the U.S. Air Force Museum, and we've built onto them ever since, replicating those hangar shapes into what are now 4 enormous structures. When the present campus opened, a lot of airplanes had to move from one side of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base back to the original Wright Field, because that's where our buildings are now. So there was a big elephant walk of airplanes. They all moved by road from there to here. It's just a couple of miles, but it was a great public event, and many people will remember the day that the XB-70 crossed a railroad bridge on its own wheels being towed. That was really something to see. An important part of this exhibit is showing our visitors how the museum is structured staff-wise. It's run by 96 civil servants, but we don't do it all ourselves. All these yellow people shapes you see here, that represents the more than 500 volunteers that we depend on every day to make this place accessible to the public, to answer their questions, to guide them. And guess what? A good number of these 500 volunteers are veterans. An important part of this exhibit is not only to look back, but to look forward. What do we think this place is going to be like in the next 20, 30, 40, maybe 50 or 60 years? The Air Force and the Space Force keep growing, and so the National Collection will presumably keep growing as well. Our present campus has room to grow, and we've sketched out some ideas about what growth might possibly look like in the future. Thanks for coming to see us at the National Museum of the United States Air Force. We've been getting ready for your visit for 100 years. We want everyone to come see the heritage of U.S. air power and space power here at the world's largest and oldest military aviation museum. Thanks for coming.